Nwosu. And today we're going to continue with part two of Is Making Money Better Than a Job? So, story time. So, coming from my background, right, in Nigeria, of not ever worked a job in my life, and basically doing the hustle that I did in high school, which was selling ramen noodles to make a couple of dollars that are, vacation money that I spent when I went back home on holidays. That was just, a business background. That was a straight up business background. I did not have any other background besides that as far as earning money. So I was already used to making money. And if you know anything about making money, or if you ask anybody that makes money, they will tell you it's almost addictive. It's something that you do it is so much fun. It's exhilarating. It's a rush, and you want to keep doing it. So if you're motivated enough to go after money, when you get it, you would even be more motivated to get more. That's why the rich keep getting richer because it's just a rush. It's just like it's like being in one of those what do you call it when you go to like Six Flags, being in one of those rides. It's just such a rush, roller coaster. So yeah, so that's what happened. So I came here, getting the job at Walgreens. I tried to juggle, school and work. Let me take that back. I was still working with my uncle as his secretary in the tax office. So I tried to juggle that with school, and I did it for a little bit, and it wasn't overwhelming. But my dad thought it was better for me to just focus on school, and just leave work for now. So eventually that led to me quitting the job. My uncle didn't have a problem with it. He thought it was a good idea for me to go ahead and just focus on school. So I went ahead and did that. And eventually, going to school, getting good grades, my dad, also suggested as time went on that I get a job in the field that I want to study, which was pharmacy. And he recommended that I start at Walgreens. Then I had two cousins already working for Walgreens and Target and stuff like that. So they also I think they wanted to go to pharmacy school, but they ended up becoming nurses. So at that point, one of them was able to talk to a manager, and his manager was able to get me. And I still remember him. Shout out to Mr. Stevens. He got me into Walgreens. Then it was a Walgreens on Marine Drive. That was the first place that I worked coming into the United States, right by the lake. So that was fun. I went to school, and when I got out of school, I got a couple of hours before I had to go into work. But even though the job was, had a very close proximity to my house, there was just something about working a job that didn't sit well with me. It felt like a waste of time. It felt like something that didn't go well with me, something I wasn't built for. Sometimes I'll be at work, I'll be falling asleep, so on and so forth. I wasn't interested. I didn't want to be there. Making money was a better option for me. So anyway, I kept working there. And as I worked there, I saw all these old people, and I don't know what they did with their life, but they ended up over there at Walgreens. And some people just trying to get a paycheck to get by. And I saw different things that just was sad to me. I felt like, these people could have done more with their life, or could still do more with their life. So at that point, I just realized that a paycheck is like a drug they give to people so you forget your plan. So I came to a conclusion that instead of taking this drug to forget your plan, I thought it was a better idea to use that paycheck to basically fund your plan. That was the better way to use a job. It's not something you stay in for. I see people were retiring, people being with the company for 30 years. I was like, how? And then even upon retirement, they weren't giving much. They didn't give them anything like serious, anything that I would want, you know. So I was like, nah, this is not for me. But anyway, um, my interest in pharmacy was already set on stone. And at that point, I was just basically working towards it. So summer came, and then one of my older family friends had a pharmacy technician school. So my dad recommended that I go to that pharmacy technician school. And then at that pharmacy technician school was where I had my first encounter with like life outside the north side, because I was always in the north side, sheltered, never been to the south side, never been to other places. So I met different people and I get to, interact with other Americans besides the people in the African community. So that was interesting. And I got a whole different perspective. This was like right after the .com bubble burst, and people were just we're running helter skelter, trying to get their life together and get jobs and get all this stuff. So they had all kinds of jobs promising heaven and earth. But eventually, like pharmacy technician wasn't it. As much as it promised, you had to stay in the job for an extensive period of time to get the kind of money that they were advertising upon entry. So it was basically false advertising. But anyway, my interest in pharmacy was picked at that point. It was set on stone that I was gonna go to pharmacy school. So I went to that family friends pharmacy technician program. I passed, and then at that point, while I was dealing with that pharmacy technician program, I was walking down Lawrence. There's a street by my house called Lawrence, and I saw this car for sale. It was like a Plymouth Neon. Is an equivalent to Dodge Neon. The company Plymouth, I think they've gone under. They're no more in existence right now. So I saw the car and I asked the owner how much he wanted to sell the car. He was asking something in excess of a thousand, a little bit over a thousand. So I had talked to one of my friends that was also going to the same school that I was attending. He had just come from Nigeria as well. So I talked to him and I told him, hey, let's buy this car. So we put our money together. We bought this car. The goal was to resell it and start some kind of business. The goal was always to flip. So this was way back in 2003, 2004. This was like 3 years after 9/11. So I was already business minded. I was trying to do something. But, all this effort kept getting suppressed, be it my dad, be it parents, be it family, just peer pressure. People just, told you, go to school. That's what you're here for. Don't do this. Don't hustle. Don't make money. Don't do that. Oh, which, you know, yeah, I would end up regretting, But at the end of the day, I went to school, and as a cashier working at Walgreens, basically they called me a customer service representative, just a long name for a guy that gets paid little. So anyway, I made $200 to $600. When I worked little hours, I made about 200 and something dollars and some change. And then when I worked a lot, like during summer times, I made about 600, at the most 800. I don't think I ever hit 900 bucks, in 2 weeks. So that was part time as a cashier. And in the summertime, because of the friendliness and the familiarity my cousin had with the manager, yeah, I always got preferential treatment as far as hours being thrown my way, extra hours to work during the summertime and stuff like that. And not only that, the the manager was already biased towards Nigerians because he had this mentality that Nigerians work hard. So he always wanted to put Africans or Nigerians on the track to help him out to build the store and basically uh, bring the bottom line up. So that was his goal. So he was always happy to assimilate an African into the Walgreens team. So anyway, at the end of the day, going to school, I got a lot of scholarships. I got good grades. I was on the dean's list, and all these things had perks that came with it. So being on the dean's list, you had the opportunity to sign up for scholarship programs and different types of scholarships and grants and things of that nature. And I got a lot of scholarships, and then most of those scholarship money I spent on like school items, non-valuables, clothes. That was just what I wanted there because I was just a kid just coming out of Africa. I wanted to look good. I wanted all that stuff. Hip hop was the mindset then. It was just the thing to be. Hip hop was so in vogue, so you wanted to dress like what you saw on TV. So this was the birth of like popular culture. It wasn't the birth, but it was my introduction to American popular culture. So that's what I spent my money on. So eventually, I kept going to community college, which was Truman, and I eventually graduated. I graduated over there with a double degree, one in pre-pharmacy and the other one general studies, and I got a vocational certificate as well. So, side note, I also applied to Harvard. I applied to Harvard from Nigeria when I took my SAT and I took my 12. And my application to Harvard was accepted and it was considered, and I actually got on the waiting list to go to Harvard. But my dad, the Harvard was taking so long, and my dad was like, you should go ahead and just start school. It's okay. So, fast forward. So, I graduated with my degrees, and I got a scholarship to Purdue University. I got a scholarship to Purdue University, which was a benefit to all the good grades I was getting while in community college. So that paid off, and I got a scholarship to Purdue. And when I got a scholarship to Purdue, that was one of the most beautiful things that happened upon graduating from community college, because I believe Purdue had these scholarship programs that were run around community colleges trying to get their best and brightest into 4-year colleges. So at the end of the day, to be honest with you, thinking back on that scholarship from Purdue, um, it was something that didn't it didn't benefit me on the long run, but it was helpful if college was what I wanted to do, right? So since I was doing college, it was helpful. So at the end of the day, I went to Purdue. I made a roommate, another Nigerian, that came from Nigeria, and he was in United States for higher education. He came there for 4-year college, and this roommate eventually introduced me to eBay. And when he introduced me to eBay, it was like opening up a whole new world for me, because up until then, I did not think of e-commerce as something that I could make money off of. So stay with me. All this while, I was very, very adamant on finding something, a way to make money. And going to Purdue and meeting this guy, shout out to Chike, DJ Fineboy. Meeting this guy opened up a whole new door for me, because he introduced me to certain things as far as e-commerce, and showing me things that I didn't even pay attention to. That which ties back into the fact into what I always preach about networking, um, associating with people that are versed in certain areas of knowledge that you're not, people that know things that you don't, people that can bring something to the table and teach you something. So I'm very big on that, and that was where that was really on full display. So he introduced me to eBay, and I took advantage of eBay and used that opportunity to sell most of my non-valuables. What my non-valuables were just clothes that I bought. I bought a lot of clothes back then that were like oversized clothes, and things I just didn't try on. I just went shopping my dad's credit card, and I just bought stuff and just threw it in the cart, and because they were selling a pair of pants for about 60, 80, $100. I wasn't gonna do that. And then you go to TJ Maxx, you're getting the same thing for $25. So I just went berserk. I took full advantage. So there, I had more clothes than I could handle. So after clothes, now I was back at it again. Trying to figure out how can I make money, how can I monetize, how can I hustle something, take $1 and make 50, make 20, make 100. So that was always something that was in the back of my mind. It was beating like a drum. So eventually, I started my eBay store, started selling most of these things that I owned, and it was doing well. I was very impressed by how interactive eBay was. And as a matter of fact, up until today, I'm still big on eBay. I use eBay. I have over 25,000 items bought on eBay. I've done so much business on eBay. I've sold so much stuff on eBay. As I'm talking to you right now, I have the car parts listed on eBay. So eBay was somewhere, as you would find out, in future continuum of this broadcast. eBay came in handy as far as my business career or my business path goes. eBay played a very vital role in putting significant amount of money in my pocket. So, so as that went on, I thought of how to use eBay profitably, and when the sales of the things that I posted on eBay started to pick up, that set up a light bulb. And once that light bulb went off, I started thinking of other ways too. So I was thinking, okay, I could sell non-valuables. What else could I sell? I started thinking about so many other things, and so many things came in mind, and I was very anxious to put them to use. So summer came after I was already licensed as a certified pharmacy technician. So summer came, and I got a job as a pharmacy technician, working in the pharmacy. So all that did was working in the pharmacy just means that I got a raise. I believe my pay was about $7 or $8 or something like that. It wasn't more than 10. And going into the pharmacy, I think I was bumped up to $14 an hour or 12.50 somewhere. I can't remember the exact numbers. But once I was bumped up, it just had a negative effect on me. I just spent more money. So the more money I made, the more money I spent. So like I don't know what it was about me at that point. Spending money was just something that I love to do, and I didn't want to do that. I wasn't thinking. I guess I was very much sheltered by my dad, and he just wanted me to just put all my attention on school. So I was making money, so I said, since all my attention is in school and I'm getting all this scholarship, might as well spend some of this money because I'm gonna keep getting good grades. So since I keep getting, I'm gonna keep getting money. So I looked at all the money that I made as play money. It wasn't until later my dad started talking some sense into me. I thank my dad so much, for being there for me. My dad is one of the best thing that happened to me in my life, obviously. But there were so many words of encouragement that he gave me that kept me in line during that whole period. So yeah, while at Purdue, I was now basically emancipated from my dad. So I lived on my own. So that I thought about it. How can I take advantage of this? I remember that summer working a pharmacy job and making all that money. I eventually saw this BMW that I liked because then I was seeing all these young kids driving BMWs, but I never thought to myself, what plan do they have in place that enables them drive these kind of cars? And I learned later that you just don't do stuff because other people are doing. So I saw a BMW online, and I went to the dealership and talked to different people trying to get that kind of car. Everybody tried to give me everything except the BMW. I didn't want that. I eventually ended up seeing one and going straight to the dealership where I saw it. I believe it was Honda of Elgin or something like that. One of those O'Hare Honda. I can't forget that place. O'Hare Honda. That was my first car buying experience as far as from the dealership, and it was decent. And they put me in this BMW that it wasn't what I wanted, but it was what I qualified for. Then I didn't know anything about credit, which is why I'm very adamant about credit. So they put me in this BMW, and it was okay. I liked it. It basically elevated my status and made me look better moving around here. And it was good for me then. It was fun. It was something exciting for a college student driving a BMW. Um, a lot of fun stuff happened because I had a BMW. I can tell you that, and that was it made college. It gave college that extra spice. So um, so I bought the BMW. I was making payments, and eventually, I was just spending more money than I was making, and eventually the BMW didn't work out. And when the global housing crisis hit, the BMW got repossessed, and uh, and that was that. So as you can see, the itch that was calling for me to keep um, going at it, finding something that enabled me make money was something that was bound to save me. Because even working a job, what happens with most people is that you elevate your lifestyle as your pay elevates. And eventually, it does not work out in your benefit because at the end of the day, you keep living paycheck to paycheck because as your pay is increasing, you're elevating your lifestyle, which is not the right way to do it. As your pay elevates, you're supposed as your pay goes up, you're supposed to keep the same lifestyle so that you could take advantage of that pay gap, that pay differential to do something significant and put money somewhere that it could generate more income. But these are things I didn't know because I was used to having cash, putting it into something, into making money, and then making the money. I wasn't used to going, putting hours, trading my time for money. I wasn't used to that. I was used to using my money to make more money, seeing my money as a foot soldier and putting it to work, sending my dollars or my naira or whatever to war for me and conquering and bringing back treasures. That was what I was used to. So the 2008 housing crisis hit. At that point, I graduated Purdue, my first degree, which was in biology, I believe. And then I worked for a bit while I was finishing up my second degree, and eventually I graduated from Purdue and at that point I had applied to pharmacy school and I eventually got into UIC College of Pharmacy. So at that point, the whole economy was messed up and my eBay sales wasn't doing so well, and even the job was barely cutting it because what happened during the global housing crisis was that most of the businesses in the United States they shrunk or they basically cut out all the pork from the expenditure and they basically streamlined their expense so that to manage the expectations for what was the impending doom, which was the housing market crisis, which was the global crisis of 2008. For those of you wondering what that was, there was the period where all this Wall Street juggernauts, traded off people's life savings with what they call derivative housing derivatives or real estate derivatives or stock derivatives that went south and people weren't paying their mortgage. They underestimated what was going on with the middle class of the United States, and their gamble did not pay off. And because of that, it affected a lot of countries all over the world. And because of that, it sent the world in a tail, the financial world in a tailspin where people could, like just wealth was just disappearing overnight. Companies were going out of business because they could not manage their expectations anymore. The kind of money they projected to make was not happening. The market was getting very very tight, and money wasn't being made anymore. So most companies had to go out of business because they could not generate enough income to keep up with the expenditure. So so in that case, that's where like you see, making money is still it has its risk, just like getting a job. But at the end of the day, if you have a job and the person that you're trading your time to make to get a paycheck, if he miscalculates as far as if he miscalculates with the future of the company, you get affected. But at the end of the day, he benefits because he gets all these tax incentives to stay in business. So, which is why I think making money is better than a job because at the end of the day, you get fired, but on the other hand, he gets all these tax incentives and they get all these golden parachutes, which comes in at the end of the day to save them. I'll see you on the next one.